All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Chris's Sports Corner. Real quick, man. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. It's Friday. The wifey's home, but I'm leaving her alone. Anyway, man, what's going on? Yeah. The wifey's back home. She's slowly getting back to herself. Not there yet, but no rush. I'm just happy to have her home. Now, let's talk about it though, man. The Toronto Raptors. So now I put out a video, and I was like, "Yo, Andre Drummond's a good target," and boy, did y'all let me have it. And Chris, that's dumb. Chris, that's stupid. Somebody say I don't watch the Raptors, so what am I talking about? Okay, apparently I don't watch. I don't know nothing about this team. Okay, cool, whatever. No, what I was trying to convey, and I think what people missed my point was, I'm thinking not just fit, but best case scenario. I'm talking about a case scenario where we ain't got to talk about things like what we're about to talk about in this video, all right? I'm talking about things you probably can get for the cheap, someone you can get for the cheap, and probably someone that can have an impact, and someone you ain't got to give up nothing for. That's why I said Andre Drummond kind of check all those boxes. I get it. He's not the flex 5, and he's not the stretch 5. But I'm thinking all best case scenario. Where you ain't got to give up nothing for him. Get him on a little free agent deal. Probably give him a little vet minimum. Get him on that. He'll definitely give you some a solid body in that big. But y'all jump all over me, so we got to talk about other things now. Like the possible, like who you gonna give up now. I was watching some, man, and shout out to the Raptors Facebook group, man. It be live in there. I know there's a lot of them, so I don't want to say the wrong one, but it be live in there. And someone brought this up, like eventually the Raptors are gonna have to get rid of one of these guys because just financially, I mean, you got Pascal max deals, Freddie max deals, Scotty Barnes coming up in not this year, probably 2 years or whatever, on a max deal. Gary Trent Jr. gonna want, you know what I'm saying? Like eventually, so if you can get rid of one of those guys, not that you want to, right? Like again, I go back to why I said Andre Drummond, because you got to get rid of him, especially right now. But this is someone, and let me say this, I am 100% against this. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. I don't want to see it happen. I rebuke it in the name of the basketball gods, right? I do not want to see this happen. But Gary Trent Jr. Now, somebody says, so I want to read this first line from this article, and shout out to RaptorsRapture.com for this article. Let's give them their credit. I want to talk about this first part because about Gary Trent Jr. It says Trent averaged 18.3 points per game while nailing 38% of his three-point shoots on defense. Trent went from one of the worst players at his position into the league to a turnover machine. Trading Trent would be less than ideal, not to mention unlikely, but a Gobert trade would demand someone of his caliber. I did not know Gary Trent Jr. was once considered one of the worst players in the league at his position. I didn't know that. Because when I watched this young man play, he takes pride. I said, don't be... I was the guy sitting right here in this desk that said, don't be surprised if you see Gary Trent Jr. in a Defensive Player of the Year conversation, because the guy gets it in. He play hard on defense. That just shows you the impact of being with the right organization. He went from worse to not, because I watched this guy. He take pride in playing defense. That's why I'm still confused when you seen the Philadelphia 76ers trying to go at him. I was like, wrong guy. No, you ain't going to Gary Trent Jr. like that, because he take pride on the defensive end, right? So, now, because Rudy Gobert is just a trade talk, right? Like right now, the playoffs are going on, and there's a whole lot of talk. He did person that, so we just entertain the talk. But if they go after Rudy Gobert, you're giving up something. And Gary Trent Jr. they ain't gonna be floating hard. I don't want to see it happen. And then let me finish this out. Trent is under contract next season, but he could opt out of his deal and hit the market after next year. Considering how well he played and the demand for shooter, he would make a substantially financial error by not testing the waters. Moving off him a year early could get to get Gobert could be a nice bit of business for Ujiri. It's hard to underestimate how transformative Gobert would be for the Raptors. Sure, he isn't the super switchable on defense, and his offensive value is limited to dunk. Despite those facts, he is unquestionably one of the best defensive centers who has ever lived. Putting that sort of rim protection alongside Toronto Arsenal of wing would be a threat to watch. Now, I think it comes down to whether the Toronto Raptors want to make Gary Trent Jr. max player. I don't know how they. I don't even know if they really could. But I mean, for him not to test the free agent market, will probably wouldn't be good business. So if you know that's kind of coming, and you got an opportunity to go get a Gobert, now I don't know. Because I know a lot of people don't feel Gobert. I'm not the biggest Gobert fan. But if you got an opportunity to get someone who's a multiple-time defensive player of the year on a team that's primarily predicated on defense, because to me, I think the Toronto Raptors defense kind of kickstart their offense. And because you also got to think about it, Jokic ain't going nowhere. Embiid ain't going nowhere. Gobert. Think of some of the other big guys. They're not really going anywhere. So you're gonna have to solidify that. And if Gobert is that guy, that could bring that real defensive power to already defensive set team and take it to that next level, then you got to say, if you think Rudy Gobert coming to this team gives them a chance to win the championship, you make it happen. I don't care what nobody say. See, sometimes we get so caught up in the minutia, right? We get so caught up in, but he ain't a flex this and that ain't a flex that and flex a flex. Who cares? Do it when. That's what it matters. So that's the question Toronto Raptors got to make. Got to ask themselves, now Gobert still got a contract and he still got some money. That's where the Andre Drummond thing came from. You could get him for a sneaker bar, for a Coke and a smile. That's why I said Andre Drummond. Not because I thought he was the best fit. I'm thinking about how you ain't got to give up Gary Trent. You ain't got to give up Boucher. You ain't got to give up nothing. You can get him for a Coke and a smile. Okay, you don't want him? You want Gobert? Then you're going to give up a lot for Gobert. You know what I'm saying? You're going to give up a lot for Gobert. I don't know but if you kind of foresee the future and you're going to have to give up somebody anyway, and you got an opportunity to make this trade, if you think it's going to win you a chip, you make it happen. And I honestly, that's what I think Masai Ujiri will do. But the one thing I'm damn sure not going to do is question Masai Ujiri and that whole organization about their decision making, because I've seen very little errors in their ways when it comes to decision making. I might have questioned them like, why the hell did they do that? And then I'll be like, okay, go get the egg off my face. Got it. It's a couple organizations I don't question. I don't question what Toronto do. I don't question what the Baltimore Ravens do. I don't question about my Cowboys. I question every damn thing they do. But a certain organization. Hey, look, I ain't questioning. I think that's a well-run organization. Salute to them and what they do. But anyway, man. Yeah. So Gary Trent Jr. could be on the chopping block. Could be a trade candidate just by default. With that being said, guys, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, man, you guys be great.